I still think about the Illuminati video and how many bells it rang with me, and they were numerous. To the point that I have to accept that my mother was not merely programmed, but a programmer, as well as my father. I think, for example, silly little things that I wrote about in the book that nobody's seen. I'll have to upload it again and somehow prove that I did write it in 2007. I'm not sure how. Silly little things like being pushed off her lap when I was 5. And no amount of pleading or begging or asking for forgiveness for whatever sin I'd committed would ever let me back on. But not such a little thing, really. She did give me a hug 2 months before she died. I'm pretty sure there were none at all in between. And yes, I do think she saw her death coming. But then again, she knew more about what was going on than I did. I will, of course, still never accept natural causes. I also remember the 2 occasions. Well, the 2 more obvious ones, there were others. The 2 that stick in my mind and in my craw. One, that she rescued me from death by arsenic poisoning at the last moment. I was too weak to go to the loo, to walk the loo. I had to be carried. And I still remember, because I was put in the downstairs bedroom, just 1 flight of stairs up from the sitting room and kitchen. I could smell food cooking, and it was torture. Of course, you could argue that no matter how sick I was, the rest of the family had to eat. Just the same, I remember that. I remember that when I was allowed to eat again, the doctor she called in put me right, literally overnight. And I think I started off on Bovril drinks or something. Then I was allowed tiny pieces of chicken that I had to chew very slowly. Then I can remember being allowed a hard-boiled egg, and I'd never liked hard-boiled eggs, but I did by then. It is true that if you have been starved long enough, you will eat anything. Saved at the last minute. Same with my father's suffocation attempt when I was 15. I had no breath left at all. And the doctor who came had to give me 2 injections of adrenaline. Hard not to think that my mother was a part of it, and a willing part, I don't know. And then, of course, the scarring of my lip. The fact that she excised me from the nuclear family by the simple expedient of, and I've talked about this before, and nobody who hasn't experienced it can imagine how much it hurts. Simple expedient of removing all photographs of me and leaving up photographs of family members who were not that close. Of course, again, you could argue that she simply hated me. But it was very effective programming. To this day, let's be honest, I look at the Truth Talk videos I did, and I think I look and sound like a robot. I've gone into robot mode. Not so on the last video I made that I should probably not upload. And then, of course, there was a point made about hypnosis. And I did also talk about that way back in 2007. That I was convinced that my father had hypnotized me. And I had a great fear of hypnotherapy, or of being hypnotized, because I was afraid I would never be able to come back out. Which was what actually had happened. My father had hypnotized me so many times that, like my brother, I went into a trance every time I was with him, and I've said this so many times recently, but it's true. It was kind of an automatic obedience. Right up until he died. Just a kind of an instilled knowledge that I must not ever go against him. I wouldn't even criticize his driving, so I was astonished when my daughter did. In his old age, he was an extremely dangerous driver. In fact, I can't imagine why I let my daughters go in the car with him, but I was a puppet. I was a puppet. And I think I still would be, and would always have been, if my father had not left when I was 6 or 7. I'd always thought 7, it must have been 6.5. I think that because he was not there to keep the programming going personally 7 days a week, but only there at weekends, it broke down to a certain degree with me. Much more so than with people who did spend 7 days a week with him. I will have to watch that video again. But my concentration span at the moment is really quite short, and got interrupted earlier on by bad news. I guess that covers it for now.